Growing up, my grandfather was my best friend. He would ask me questions about the big issues of the day and then sit patiently as my young mind tried to make sense of the world. He was a master storyteller, and on one occasion he asked me, how would I tell my story? I told him I didn't know. He said, once I figured that out, I would find my purpose. Years later, I became a storyteller myself, but it wasn't until I had kids of my own that I remembered what my grandfather's thoughtful questions had done for me. So, starting at home at the turn of the millennium, applying the Bloom system, which uses key life questions to encourage self-discovery, I started interviewing kids once a year in hopes of helping them find their stories.
Explain puddle jumping.
Puddle jumping's when, there's this really big puddle and it's kind of deep but not too deep, and you just run and jump onto it, or you go from a high area and jump into it and you get all wet. It's really fun. I want to have a decent paying job or a really good job. I want to have a family or something. So that's probably what I want to be at 30.
Do you think that'll happen?
Yes, I do. I have high hopes for myself. But I really, really want to be a teacher for the mentally disabled. I think it'd be the funnest thing on earth. I love, kids with, I love everyone, but, kids with mentally, mental disabilities. I just love them. I did this one right here with scissors. And then this one right here with a knife, a butcher knife. And then I did that one right there with a knife going right there.
When you cut, why do you cut?
To relieve pain that I couldn't tell anybody. And to relieve pain I couldn't tell myself. And then these two from scratching myself in the hospital.
Why were you in the hospital?
My mom called the school on the day I was actually going to kill myself. I had a plan to go to Eastern Washington. I had talked to a guy online who said he would give me 420 sleeping pills if I slept with him. While everyone was sleeping, I was going to down as many as I could, and when everyone woke up, I'd be gone. They caught me right as I was actually leaving campus, and I was turned into Fairfax Hospital, which is what my mom likes to say is a behavioral hospital, but basically, it's just a mental hospital. And then they put me on antipsychotic medication. So there's another thing I didn't want. Well, I hallucinate mostly all the time.
When you hallucinate, what do you see?
Is this guy, and he's blonde, and he has blue eyes, and he's about 5'7", and in his early 20s, and he follows me around and talks to me. He always brings up, what a slut. I can't believe he did that. 7th grade, I was at a friend's house, and, we were hanging out with the older guys, so we were, felt great, the older guys, and they had been flirting, so it made us even feel better. Older guys like the younger girls. Obviously, the one guy that I liked and the guy that liked me was in for more than just flirting, and he got it. Yeah, he knew what he was going to do, even if I did say no. I think he knew. Because once my friend left with the other person, and he looked at me and he locked that door. The only thing I could hear, everything was gone except for the click of that lock. It was molestation. I told you I had to do things to him. And I didn't think I told you that. He did things to me. I feel guilty that I didn't do enough to stop it. I didn't fight hard enough. Nobody knew until now, and it was 3 years ago.
This is where I just sit. I don't really do anything in my room except for sit and write.
You write?
Poetry, yeah.
Poetry?
Yeah. Do you want to hear some? This one's about when I was molested. And it's kind of intense and it's really hard for me to read, but I'll try. You killed the little girl who once lived a life inside my heart. You lifted me up and you pushed me down. You thrusted yourself and laughed while I gagged. I ended up... It's really painful to think about, but I'm starting to get over it. People think that rape's this big thing, and when you hear it on the news, everyone just like turns their head to the TV. Then when you hear about a molestation, nobody really cares. Like, I've told somebody and they're like, oh, well, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, and I was just like...
Past experiences in my life have built up so much stress that I haven't talked about.
And then I did this when I just came out of the hospital for hallucinating. And I'm not like a big fan of Matchbox 20, but I think they have good songs. And I took the lyrics. I'm not crazy. I'm just a little unwell.
Yeah, he'll bring up, you know, you wanted to do that. He just tell people that it's forced. He'll say it all the time. And there he is, right there.
Your hallucination?
Mm-hmm.
He's mad at you for talking to me?
Yeah, he's like, why do you always tell people?
Why do you tell people? He's asking you. Go ahead and answer him.
Well, I tell people because, okay, I've never talked to him before. This is really hard for me. I tell people because it's already out there. And I don't want to be alone by myself with him. So I feel like if I talk about it, I'm not alone.
Does he mean you harm?
But I can't ask.
Maybe he doesn't mean you harm.
Well, but I know if he didn't mean me harm, he wouldn't threaten me all the time.
What does he threaten you with?
A gun. He has a gun with him. And he puts it up to my head. Or he'll threaten my friends and family. Say, which one do you want to go first? And he'll hold their heads with the gun like that. Ooh. He thinks you don't know what you're talking about. This isn't anywhere from me, so
This is great. Let him talk to me.
Okay, this is really hard. He says you don't know what you're talking about, and that you have nothing to do with me, and that you should leave me alone.
It sounds like he's just a scared little boy. You're stronger than he is.
Yeah. Well, I've never felt this way because I felt like I achieved something.
Felt like what?
I achieved something today. You can't get rid of anything without facing it first. Life's not that easy. My name's Danielle Shepard. I have a new boyfriend named Joe, and we've been together for 7 months. He's absolutely amazing.
When was the last time you had any hallucinations?
Oh, 6 months after I got off my medication.
Who do you think he was?
He was everything I didn't want in my life anymore, there to haunt me until I got rid of it. I always put on the act that, I know it's not my fault. There's nothing to be ashamed about, but anybody who goes through, a rape or a molestation or any kind of sexual act that's not okay is gonna feel shame. I wasn't mentally stable enough to turn him in. And now I can't turn him in now. I don't even know his name. I know his initials, KC. And I know what he looks like, but it's been years. I was in 7th grade. I'm graduating this year. Katie, I told you about Katie. She was, you know, mentally disabled. When I was working at Starbucks, she would come in, she stole our tips. She would get in trouble with the cops. The cops would have to come and arrest her and then take her back home. And so I decided that I was gonna teach her how to be in our store.
But I really, really want to be a teacher for the mentally disabled. And that's mostly what I want.
So she would come in, come up to the counter and, I want your tips, Danielle. And I'd be like, Katie, make your choice. You can have stickers or you can have the cops called. Those are your choices. And over time, she would just be like, can I have a sticker instead of your tips? And she'd scream at the front door and I'd be on the other end of the store, hi, Danielle! And everyone would freak out and be like, oh my God. And I'd be like, hi, Katie. I'm not supposed to yell inside. Oh, I know, I'm so sorry. One day I was sitting on my break outside she did word searches. Veronica Cook, saw me. And when I came back in, she goes, you know you're missing your calling, right? And she goes, you should be working with kids like this. I'm a paraeducator in the medically fragile students' classroom.
What are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for life. You know, I could say, you know, family and friends and all that, but that's my life. I didn't want life at one point. Ever since my whole suicide thing, you know, it's been, you know, the year after that. I still wanted to die, but I knew people weren't gonna let me. So I needed to just deal with the fact that I wasn't gonna get what I wanted and I should try to fix it. The year after that, it got a little bit easier. And then the year after that, I started doing drugs and drinking and went right back to, well, if I can't die, I'm just gonna do whatever the hell I want and do what I've told you, I'm addicted to dangerous things and destructive things. And that's so, okay, I'll go to that. And then now I'm starting to realize, you know, like I really don't need that stuff.
If you had one free question and the universe would tell you the answer, what would it be?
I keep just having one kind of circle in my head and it's like so vague that I almost don't want to ask it because there could be a better one. But I'm like, will I make it out? All right.
I have high hopes for myself. I have really high hopes for myself.
Thank you, Danielle.
You're welcome.
Nice to talk to you.
If I could have things the way that I would want them to be, I would have a great relationship with my family. I'd be back in school. It would be where I was last year. It just kind of happened all at once.
Jonathan, I'm 14 and I'm in 8th grade. My science teacher, he talked like this, and then he sounds like he's constipated. So he'll be talking and go like this, and then he thinks that everything is contraband. If you have a rubber band, he'll take it away from you, and then he'll give you a warning and say next time it's a detention.
What do you think is your strongest quality?
Probably my sense of humor or acting, which I love to do. I don't think that it's important to be necessarily popular and attractive if you're totally smart. My dad thinks that I'm still young and I can still, you know, wear the same pair of pants 2 days in a row. I told my mom that, you know, I have to shop at these places, otherwise I'll get made fun of. Sometimes I think, you guys were never that age. You don't know what it's like, you know. I know that they were 13, 14, 15. I know they've been almost every age.
Do you keep secrets from your parents?
Yeah,
Do you feel like they want to know them?
sometimes. But
Does that bother you?
yeah, I guess, because sometimes I guess I try to keep them from them, but I kind of want them to know.
Do you think you'll ever take drugs?
Probably.
Will you do it out of curiosity or peer pressure or...
Curiosity.
Is there something in you that battles against peer pressure?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's how it goes. Okay, so my link leader said, you know, Jonathan, you should run for freshman senator. So I said, I think I'll give it a try.
Has it gotten you any dates?
Yes, I just had this with me. Miss Hannah Demerit. She's in orchestra with me, and she's really nice. I want to get through schooling, and I want to get a job, and I just kind of want to grow up so much. But
If you had a crystal ball and wanted to know anything about your future, what would it be?
where I would be 20 years. You know, what kind of a job I would have, or where I went to college, or if I was married or had kids.
I pulled my wallet out of my pocket, broke my debit card in half, and started slitting my wrists with my debit card. My parents called the police, and I went to Harborview for a psychological evaluation. Along the way, I also picked up a drug addiction. The week after I got arrested for assault 4, I decided to have a drug relapse and go to Central Market and steal a whole bunch of stuff and then get arrested for that. I had suicidal ideations and was cutting myself, and when my parents would go to bed at 10:30 at night, I'd get on the computer and talk until 2 or 3 in the morning, and then do the same thing over and over and over and over again. Lie about going to a movie, go and hang out with somebody, have sex, come home, and it was so routine. The reason why I was in 5,000 Days is because I was normal, just normal kid, and then something happened.
How many people did you have sex with?
14 people over the course of the last 6 months.
Men?
I had nobody to talk to, and I thought that being gay meant meeting people and going out and having sex. And when people start deferring the blame of the problem of my issues to dishonesty and whatever else, you know, not going to school or drug usage, and I'm saying, no, that's not the problem for me. The problem for me is my sexuality. I hate the way I am. If I could have it any other way, I'd have a girlfriend. I hate being gay. This senior who's big and a coke dealer intimidates the crap out of me, right? Tells everybody at Shorewood that he's going to come and get me and beat me up. So about 2 weeks ago, I was walking Molly. He stopped the car, hit me across the back of the face, and kicked me and punched me and said, "I'm gonna kill you, you fag," and drove away. So. Well, I was in an intensive outpatient program for my drug abuse, and I got caught relapsing twice. Well, I guess it wasn't really a relapse because I didn't really stop using, so I got caught using twice. Other people in in the room that I was staying in were addicted to meth, and they're like 95 pounds, and here I am, like, I was actually going somewhere 6 months ago, and now, I mean, it just, when you're put in a situation like that, it's a big reality check because you're put in there because you have a problem. But I know that now, at least I have that completely crossed off. I think my parents and I have a mutual understanding that my recovery right now needs to come before my sexuality. Marijuana is so commonplace. It's such a part of high school culture that it's not wanting to use to get high, just wanting to use to feel accepted. Maybe I'm having these feelings just because it makes me so jealous that I can't be on the football team. I'm attracted to men physically, I'm attracted to women emotionally. I don't even want to think about my orientation right now. It's almost like, you know, whether I'm gay or straight has just been kind of pushed aside.
Can you think of any time when you felt, I'm at home with myself?
No. If I think back, the closest that I've ever come to that would probably be when I was on stage. But the weird thing about that is that when I was on stage, I wasn't myself. I left high school. I think we talked about that last time. I left high school, and I'm in the CEO program at Shoreline Community College. I got my first 4.0 in, I remember how long, and I can't give up because it's frustrating right now, saying, well, shoot, I'm never gonna get into a university.
In order for me to be successful, I must remind myself that my happiness lies in a battle between me and me. Because my education is personal, I cannot rely on others to do work for me. Rather, my success is relative to how open, committed, and successful I allow myself to be.
I know that I don't want to be doing drugs. I know that I don't want to be meeting people online. I know that I don't want to be abusing the trust that I've worked very hard to get back. I'm waiting to hear back from NYU, Fordham, and University of Washington. Over the last 4 or 5 years, it felt good to say I'm gay. But what didn't feel good was that now my cover, if you will, is blown, or now I've said this, now this is who I am. You know, I think part of the beauty of acting is that self-examination. I can just be Jonathan instead of, you know, gay Jonathan. And I think that now I'm very grateful for that. And it's nice to be able to be me. So I'm teaching now, and I'm working for a website called fab.com. One of the things that I can agree with and that students have said too is my patience, which really surprises me, actually, because I've been such an impatient person, waiting to be 27 since I'm 17, you know, or like being really worried about buying a house, or I'd feel like restless in a wanting something bigger kind of way as long as I can remember.
And I want to get a job, and I just kind of want to grow up so much.
My goal now is to go back and get my master's in teaching. I'm grateful for my family above everything else. If I have a bad day or if I have a great day, the people that I want to share that with are my family. When I achieved the most acceptance was after I'd come out. Now I can be myself, and if you don't like it, all right. It is amazing how much has changed since high school. And all those kids that, you know, used to talk so much shit about me. You know what? Somebody's welcome to come up and try. I'd rather die being who I am. And I mean that 100%. I would rather be just beat down in a street in the middle of Paris for being exactly who I am.
Yeah, I like a lot of bracelets. I just got these last night. Actually, last night I snuck them in on the counter at Fred Meyer's, and my mom got mad at me after she found them in the bag. Well, I'm goal to at least become a singer when I grow up, and a better actress than I am now, and that I get along with my brothers better. Actress, model, and I like doing hair and stuff, that kind of stuff. There's a whole bunch of stuff I like, but I can't choose. I like my eyes, I like the color, and I like my hair, but I wish it was a little bit more blonder, because I don't like dark hair very much on girls. That's pretty much all I like about myself.
Up until 6th grade, I'd say everything was pretty good. And then after When middle school started, like, all my problems kind of started happening.
My parents are split up right now, and they live in 2 separate houses because my mom mentioned something about a divorce. So I'm really sad about that and everything. We switch off every week.
Is that hard?
My dad does. Yes. I wish my parents were together.
And then I look at other families, and it's like, what if family members feel like, how do they interact? You know, do they just love each other, act like a family? That's how I used to feel when I was young.
It's Christmas Eve! It is December 24th, 2002. Hello, how you feeling? How normal is this, people?
Oh, how normal is this, people?
Jade, what are you? Just leave, Jade.
Mama.
Here's Mom.
Say what year it is.
I did. Hi. Say Merry Christmas, Bob.
Merry Christmas 2002.
How's your night going?
I feel like the society, the TV, the music we hear, the magazines, the covers. Never thought I'd be the type of girl that would let that stuff influence me, but what did influence me though? My brother called me I was a fat, ugly, stupid loser when I was 7.
Oh, Dad, look what you did to it!
You know, my dad telling me I had some fat hanging out of my pants. Those memory spines, they all stick with me. Now it's like I'm in this whole nother world, and it's just terrifying. I don't know what's real and what's not real anymore.
Britney Spears, she's coming to town, and she's gonna have a concert. She's a really good singer. She's a good actress, too. Because I really do want to act when I'm older. I think she's just really cool. I want to be a model or an actress because you can make a lot of money and famous. I watch MTV all the time. I mean, I practice my singing so bad, but all my friends say my voice is ugly. So I think I like my voice. Round and round we go, baby, I swear. I had so much depression. I was so sad for most of 7th and 8th grade. You know, I had friends and, you know, there was good stuff too, but like for the most part I was like really suffering, and it wasn't something I could really talk about with anyone, especially my family. Sometimes when I'm more down on myself, I'll think like there's no way, just because it seems like things have gotten worse every year. People bug me, but mostly she bugs me a lot.
What makes you really angry?
Well, a lot of people don't like my makeup.
What do you have to say to the camera about that black stuff around your eyes?
They think it's slutty. Girls who like talk behind people's backs, like they pretend to be your friend and then they just totally talk about you to other people. It's annoying. It's a fun time, being 13.
So what's one thing you'd change?
I'm not being very successful in school, but I'm gonna totally change that next year and graduate. I want to graduate. I'm not gonna let that stop.
What would you wish for?
Being able to be consistent and successful with, you know, taking care of my body and taking care of school and getting into college and getting done, you know, my top priorities and stuff. One of my biggest strengths is being open-minded and hearing people's side and not judging people right away, you know, or really in general at all. I just let people be them, and I'll just think of, you know, maybe they did this because they were going through this or something. I don't know, I guess I'm compassionate towards people since, and probably a lot of that's come from my own, you know, troubles and stuff. At nighttime, before I went home, I went to his house and him and this girl were sitting on the porch. They were all kissing each other and stuff, and it kind of bothered me. I went to bed and he called me at 4 and was just like, Jade, I'm really sorry. And he was drunk when he called me too. I hung up on him. 30 minutes later, I was fast asleep. I heard, Jade, Jade. He's knocking on my window.
How's high school?
So I let him inside and He just apologized for being with that girl. That was really sweet.
I have a boyfriend.
You do have a boyfriend?
Well, he finally kind of admitted, like, a few weeks ago, sort of like, well, he likes a lot of girls, actually. It kind of makes me mad, but he's mostly nice. When I talk to him on the phone, he's nice to me, but at school, he kind of embarrasses me. They're just really picky about girls. They don't like them for certain reasons, which I think is stupid. Like the way they look.
So rate your looks, 1 out of 100.
And a 1 out of 100? My looks? Are you joking me? Like a 20?
Probably a 40 out of 100.
I don't know, like a 12 or something.
Like 10.
I just basically feel 100% uncomfortable in my skin.
I don't think I'm very pretty.
My psychiatrist diagnosed me with body morphic disorder. It's like a physical thing. You know, I get depressed in general. I suffer from depression, just nothing real specific. But it's like the BDD really started getting worse, I'd say, after 8th grade. It started becoming real evident when I was missing best friend's birthday parties because I was having a BDD attack. Like, something's wrong here. This is not normal. I had like a panic attack in like one of my classes towards the end of school, and like I started bawling, and I never cry in front of people. Just this one thing has kept me from so much that it's kept this anger and resentment in me a little bit, and it's no one's fault, it's my own, because I haven't been able to talk about it.
Have you told your family?
I kind of let them know throughout the years. I was depressed once in a while, but like I didn't want to tell them like every day. It was like really bad. That would be on my mind the first thing in the morning, but really I had all the energy in the world to go take care of what I wanted to take care of. But because of this main issue, that's blocked me from so many things, and my parents would never know. So it'd be like, they would think I was just being like lazy and not motivated.
Jade, come on.
Smile.
Come on. I was just so like private about that stuff, and I felt like it was something to be ashamed of, and I was just really embarrassed, and I was like really alone. I hate my lips. I feel like anyone would hate to look at my lips. It's like my upper lip is so small. I'm in a relationship now. Yeah. He's not abusive. He's really, actually, he's really controlling. I didn't feel like myself for like the year that we were together. It was like I was just this little nothing when I was with him. It's really hard to admit that I definitely had this thing, this codependency with guys. Well, I'd sleep with them to make me feel better, and it never does it. It got so bad that all I could do was just take drugs. It's gotten worse. Yeah, I dropped out in like November of my senior year. January, February 2010, I got a DUI. Then I got a minor in possession, and then another DUI a few months later. So that's 3 charges, all within like 6 months. So I went to jail for that. I did 30 days. And then I just got off home monitoring for 2 months. And now I'm on probation for 5 years. I don't know what normal means, but it has to be different than this. I just want to, for once, have some consistency in my life, a function. I've disrespected myself so much throughout all this. I don't want to live that way. Towards the end, I was using heroin, I was using crack. While I was using, it was never like an enjoyable thing. I mean, maybe at the beginning it was all great, took all my problems away. That lasted like no time at all. And I felt like Jade did not exist anymore.
Has anything changed in your life?
Well, Either tell me if looks like I put on too many pounds, or maybe there's a baby girl in here.
When did you find out you were pregnant?
So I found out I knew from the very beginning.
Did you consider not keeping the child?
Yeah, I did. I specifically remember going to my room and feeling like just so overwhelmed and distraught, like, and crying my eyes out because I just couldn't believe I was pregnant. I totally just covered it all up with drugs. That's what I did. Whether it was drink a little or take a couple pills, it all just kept me deluded and not feeling, and that's it. So I don't even know where I really was internally. I just know it was like in an escape mode.
What made you decide to keep your baby?
I was like 2 months pregnant, maybe a little more, and I felt something inside me, found it in me to, on December 12th, 2012, I went home and I detoxed from heroin in my room. It was the most miserable week. It was like death in the bed. My brother, Ryan, all addicts who keep going back to places like this, they're losing their kids because they're not staying clean for themselves. I knew intuitively, like, there's no way I'm going to get this child up. Finally got a bed date set up. So from the day I got into treatment until 6 months later, I put everything into it.
So your treatment was motivated by the fact you had a child to take care of, and you wanted that child to be healthy and safe?
I don't think so. I think way, way deep and down, that was it. I really do. But I think number one, that must have been it, really. But I actually wanted to save myself.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I knew it. I guess, yes, it was totally motivated by my pregnancy. It just felt so different. There's a lot of women there, it's their second, third time trying to get their kids back with CPS, and some of them do get it the first time around, and I sure as heck hope that it's me. I had to write constant little notes, reminders to myself. Jade, Jadey, this is everything you have to gain in this place. A real way of living, good self-esteem, getting your spirit back. I can't even believe that 6 months is just over and I'm out of there now. I've been going to school. I'm just taking all these prerequisites to get into nursing school because I really want to. That's what I want to do.
So your whole struggle with BDD kind of left your life because you needed to focus on someone else, your child.
No, it does not exist in my daily life. The cognitive behavioral therapy stuff I did at treatment, that stuff helped like probably 90% of the BDD thing, and I think what helped the other 10% was just continuing to talk about it with a counselor outside, and I just challenged all my distortions on paper, and none of them made sense to me anymore. It was just like, what a waste of energy I spent all these years on. It just felt like I couldn't get out of this little nightmare. There's no being stuck with a body disorder because it affected my life in every way possible, 24 hours a day, in ways that I didn't even know how to verbalize, not because I was embarrassed either, but because I didn't know how to, because it was so out there that I didn't even know how to communicate what it felt like. And just going from pure discomfort and confusion to none of that. That's just, it exists.
What would you say to other girls who are now struggling with the issues you were struggling with?
Your life can change. You can find a way out of this grief. You can find a way out of this pain, and you're not alone. But you also are not stuck like you might feel you are.
Had you had any fall in the last year or two?
Relapse? Yeah. No. I'm trying to keep myself motivated, but it's pretty easy to, because I just look at Scarlett, I look at my situation. Now she's getting older and much more just
mobile.
And it's a really good just test for what I'm capable of, tolerance, and who I can really be as a person and a parent.
3 wishes.
3 wishes. Like one wish to revolve around Scarlett. Just good health for her. I want her to have amazing self-esteem. I want her to know it's okay to make mistakes, that they don't define you. Half the crazy shit being talked about in society is just, it's just all so artificial. I want her to feel joy her whole life. And then when the tough stuff comes, no, it's It's okay. She can move through it. I like to think of Scarlett as my little recovery baby.
Rate your happiness, 1 to 100, with 100 being the happiest. Where would you be?
Right now, I would say about a 90, just because my daughter is okay, and I'm sober. And I just look at it like that every day, but if I'm not really in gratitude, that's not good. But today, I'm sober, and Scarlett is healthy and happy. Well, motherhood, what do I think about it? I think some days I just get so overwhelmed. I'm like, oh, I wasn't cut out for this. This isn't for me. And then I'll like catch myself laughing and I'll be like, this is what I was meant to do.
Our stories, whether we're trying to find our place in the world or on the roadmap to adulthood, who we love, who we are, who we want to be, what we live for, and what we would die for. Our stories are ours and ours alone. But who will write them? Who will tell them? And how will they be epic?